You look at someone like J. Cole, famously said the line recently, like, some people make millions, others
Yeah.
make memes. That line is a meme. Like, I've seen a million memes on Instagram on all those weird pages rap pages that I follow that have a meme of that line.
And that's encouraging because that means that rappers don't just have to make like hokey jokey raps.
Yeah.
They can make actual like lyrical pieces of work and it can still pop off.
What's up, geniuses? Welcome back to For the Record. I'm your host, Rob Markman. Now, if you have a pulse, then you know Old Town Road, Lil Nas X, biggest song in the country right now, #1 song on Billboard. The music is the song that everybody's talking about. But we want to talk about how we got there. A couple of memes were involved, all right? So we want to talk about the memes and the music and what it all means for 2019. Now, to talk about that, I assembled a panel of some esteemed colleagues and friends. First up, we have Kiana Fitzgerald, whose work appeared in NPR, Rolling Stone, Complex. And you have a little connection to cowboy culture, right?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
I found out recently that my great-great-grandfather was a cowboy.
Yeehaw. All right, we right with it. Shout out to Crucial Conflict, too. We're going to get maybe the history of cowboys and hip-hop and stuff like that, because it didn't just start here, right?
Correct.
All right, we're going to get into it. Next up, we have my man. This is my man, Jay Grant. He's the Senior VP, A&R Marketing at RCA and 88 Classic, and a friend. Above all else, a friend and a music guy, man.
I appreciate being here.
Nah, man, I appreciate you.
I have cowboy culture, though, too. I'm a big Dallas Cowboys fan. That's about it. I go to Texas a lot.
I'm
down with the 5-gallon hat. The boots, not so much.
He knows I'm a Giants fan, so this is what it is. And then finally, I feel like it might get a little spicy at this table. I'm not gonna lie. And this is why I invited my friend Islam, man, the executive editor over here at Genius. The editorial content that you see on the site, he heads that up. He is super into the memes. He's super into the music.
Yes, bring me the dank memes. I also have a connection to cowboy culture. As my favorite movie is The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, starring Clint Eastwood, a great Sergio Leone classic.
Look at that.
That's the only connection I don't know. So what do you want from me, guys? I'm from the Bronx.
I have nothing. Nah, but I want to get into it. I mean, look, as we all know, Lil Nas X is what everybody's talking about. Went #1. He told Rolling Stone, and admitted part of his story is that he used to run a meme account on Twitter. Unclear of its connection to Nicki Minaj.
I think it was a Stan account, like a Nicki Minaj Stan account.
Nicki Minaj account. Shout out to the Barbs. And that he used everything that he learned from meme culture to how to inform how to make Old Town Road, right? Like he said, I knew what my audience was looking for. I put some funny lines in there. He told Time that he should be paying TikTok for helping him blow this song up. The fact is, this is a reality, right? A lot of artists create now with this in mind, with social media. What does that say about the state of music now? Like, what do you make about how much he credits and how much he creates and let social media drive that?
I feel like this isn't really that new and fresh.
Right.
I'm reminded of, like when the Whip Nene song by Salento came out, that was specifically created because he knew that the dances were going off. So that was already happening. It just so happens that now we have like these very particular apps that are able to kind of become a vehicle for these songs to really blow up.
I'm going to take it further back from that, having just aging myself right now. Done D. Pharrell Laffy Taffy, which was ringtone based.
Right.
So having to convince a couple thousand people playing records that it was going to be a #1 record and it was going to be a big hit, and we worked really hard, and it was. Right. And then from New Boys, which was cultural, which was a happy moment in my life when that really broke off. But the jerking and all that, and that was just a cultural movement and another dance movement. So
The Dougie.
So yeah.
That,
Yeah, sure. So, but all of that being, I think it's been a different medium each time, whatever it is. And now, is it TikTok?
Right. I mean, because it's right. And you could agree or disagree. Soulja Boy, part of his success would Crank That, and Soulja Boy started all this. If you ask Soulja Boy, but no, it's true. Soulja Boy is a pioneer in virality and music.
Sure.
Crank That. I remember seeing SpongeBob memes before we were even calling them memes set to Crank That music on YouTube, and obviously him knowing how to use MySpace. Psy had Gangnam Style.
Yep.
Bauer had the Harlem Shake.
This happens every time a platform emerges and someone is the first one to sort of exploit it for a hit. And Soulja Boy was one of the first artists to like really take the use of YouTube. Silencio, Bobby Shmurda, all these other people took advantage of Vine when that was popping. TikTok has kind of become what Vine was like 5 years ago. They just everyone just kind of is the first one to do it. And it seems like this grand, brand new thing, but it's kind of the same old song. It's just, sort of a remix to something that we've heard before a million times.
What does it say about where we are in music now, though? However, because he might be the first to, probably not the first, but I mean, him coming out and admitting like I purposely made this song to go viral, and if you listen to his other music, it's distinctly different. Like he said, I added some funny lines to probably the Wrangler on my booty and.
The best line.
Yeah.
Is that the best line?
It's
Top
the line
three,
that always
top
catches
three.
me. It always catches me when I hear it.
Yeah.
What does it say now to music? We're gonna see a lot of copycats. Is basically what I'm getting at, right? Like,
Yeah.
And everyone, by the way, is already from the label side looking at all the copycats. Sadly,
They're already, they're
Yeah.
already in meetings right now discussing it.
I mean, yeah, somebody that I wrote a piece for Complex about like what it's like to go viral and move past it. And I wrote about Trinidad James and I talked to him about like, would all go to everything. And that specific line of like pop the Molly, I'm sweating. Like I feel like that was a
The meme
pivotal
line,
moment.
yeah.
That like kind of triggered a bunch of people like being like, oh shit, I can make a moment like this. I can like make people kind of zero in on this specific line and then the song itself will become a thing.
Yeah, I mean, to me, again, none of that stuff feels unique. Like a song having a particular line that stands out. I'm sort of reminded of, it was like 7-8 years ago now when Drake and Rick Ross had the song where he's like, bitch, you weren't with me shooting in the gym. That became like a thing that everyone, I would just say it like 100 times a day. And then, but that song wasn't the benefit of that. Like Rick Ross and Drake were big artists at the time already. But every once in a while, a line comes along and it becomes a thing that everyone says.
but of course, quotables.
The
If we're
quotable
talking about
line,
it,
yeah.
we talk again. I'm gonna just use my experience and who I am and what's in my DNA. Like I'm a rap guy. Came up in the Source magazine. That would be the first thing that I would turn to in the Source magazine was the hip hop quotable, which was all the way in the back. But I mean, is Drake?
not to reviews first. I was a reviews first guy.
Nah, yeah, I was the hip hop quote. I needed to see who got that hip hop quotable, and then I did the reviews. It was funny. I read the Source backwards. It was so crazy. Like we always started in the
The
back.
ads in the back were terrible.
What's the magazine? I've never heard of that.
Yeah, see, there you go. But I mean, are we comparing? Are you comparing "Bitch, You Weren't With Me Shooting in the Gym" to "Wrangler on My Booty"? Because
No, I'm just saying that every once in a while, like every year almost, there's a line like that. I remember a few years ago there was like "Eat the Booty Like Groceries," like that just became
Right.
like a meme line.
Right.
Like every once in a while, a song takes off and it usually becomes a big hit. And there's that one line that everyone quotes. I think "Wrangler on My Booty" is that line for the better or worse.
and look, man. Shout out to everybody who watches all the content on the Genius channel. We spotlight that stuff as well. Boyboy West Coast had a moment a couple of weeks ago, and we'll see if this moment continues with Bottoms Up, and that was extremely viral, and that was a meme. Wasn't even a song. The song still does not exist, like anywhere. Like that might be one of the strangest.
The GOAT snippet of all time, the greatest snippet ever.
But honestly, propagated by Genius, by people
Yes.
viewing Genius. Like
Yeah.
everybody is out trying to sign him. He may have just signed.
Right.
Based off of Genius traffic. So a lot of what we had to do now is analytically based, which has its merits and its negatives. So sometimes you end up making signings that you may not personally be as proud of from a professional level or from an artistic level. But there's merit for everybody. Like if my 6-year-old daughter likes the song, great, cool. As long as it's not an offensive record,
Right.
then I'm not mad at that. There's music for everybody out there.
Right.
I don't want to skip ahead, but to
Skip ahead.
Lil Nas X's credit, like he made a hip hop cowboy record. Nobody had done it. It's creative. Like there's got to be, or other people had done it, but
done.
fine.
I mean,
but nobody
I get
had
what
done
he's
it
saying, though.
as he did it in the sense that he has a catchy melody. It's a basic melody. There's nothing amazing about the melody, but it's a nice melody with obviously the meme lit it up because it was sitting there before that.
Right.
But it's a nice melodic record and it's very catchy. It's near warm. So, you got to give him credit for making a song that is clearly liked by the masses,
Right.
There's not, everyone doesn't have to be an underground artist.
Right. And one thing I'll be the first to admit, like, it kind of has me shook a little bit. Like really, like, what does this mean for the future of music? Like, are we making music or are we making memes? And that all being said, I enjoy the song. Like, it's a fun song. Like, I can't front on the song. What I'm more worried about is the copycats that come along. And also what does it say to musicians, singers who can really sing and that's their craft, but might not know how to use the internet, but like, is having a great voice not
Oh man,
Cool anymore?
We're not going to
Is
do
no-
this
is
now.
knowing how to
Can't
rap
that be
not
another
cool?
episode?
No,
It's like, oh, man.
Come on, man. Yeah, look, first of all, Lil Nas X, he came to verify and saying, better singer than I thought he would be. He's pretty good.
Oh, all the comments are like, oh, he didn't even
Yeah.
need
Yeah,
auto-tune.
Yeah, for real.
You can tell if you listen to the old records, and I went back and checked a few. You could tell he could sing. Like it's not. I mean, you know.
But the overall thing I'll say is like, the question of like whether or not big artists need to know how to market their music, like artists always need to know how to market their music, and if they don't, they should sign to a label that's good at marketing their music for them. That's kind of what you do, right? Like not every artist is going to be good at it. Lil Nas X is maybe the exception to the rule, but also there is something to be said for like the young generation that's coming up. Kids these days, I'm really impressed by, I feel bad for them because they're coming into a terrible world at a terrible time. But a lot of the kids I meet, they have mad skills. Like they know how to do photo editing and they know how to do this, but they really want to be a lawyer, but they also are like, they learn from YouTube like
Don't
how to
be a
do
lawyer.
this thing. Well, I'm just saying like they have all these skills and they know how to do like again, Lil Nas X was a kid who clearly could have got a job being in social media marketing, for at Genius or at any company running their social media team. Like he should be doing it because clearly he understands something about that culture. So yeah, to that, it's like every artist always needs to be able to market their music, and like we said before, every era there are artists who are better at it than other people. It's not necessarily a reflection of your musical talent, but marketing is a talent too. There's it's a skill.
Remember when Yachty came out and
Yep.
everybody was like, "Oh shit, who is this kid?" Like he came out of nowhere, but he had very strategically mapped out what he was gonna do.
Yep.
I feel like it's just like times 10 or times 100, whatever you want to like extrapolate it as. But I think these kids, as you said, are learning how to do more and more things, and they're just kind of leveling up on us, and we don't know what to do yet.
And look, on the flip side of this too, I'll say a record that is not getting a lot of discussion, but peaked at 19 on Billboard this week is Ava Max's "Sweet But Psycho," another song that benefited from both on TikTok and also a Snapchat like face filter kind of thing. And we had talked a little bit with Ava Max too. Eddie Fu, our news writer, had interviewed her and done. We had talked to her about it, and she was saying too, like, similar to Lil Nas X, she was making music. She's a pretty good singer. No one really cared about her music initially. One of her songs became popular on TikTok. She didn't do it. It sort of organically happened. And that was the start of a rise of her career. And now she has a top 20 song. And again, that song has been peaking. We started writing about that song the end of last year, around like November, like October time, and now this week it hit its all-time peak, and it's still kind of rising. So it goes to show you that again, it's not just artists like Lil Nas X who are benefiting from this, but even people like Ava Max, who's like a real singer, not a total meme artist, and also not someone who was like an expert at turning it into a meme, and kind of happened for her organically. Or maybe the label did it. I don't know how organic it was, but
Jay, maybe you can speak to this just in the general sense. Like, how many artists do you come across? Because you're scouting new talent all the time. How many times do you see just like insanely talented artists who just really kind of have no idea how to position themselves to be heard versus people who may have less musical talent but really know how to navigate the landscape? And how do you discern between the two of who gets a shot? With your label, respectively.
Well, for me, yeah, that's a personal taste thing for me. I don't sign anything that I don't see a vision for personally. The vision could go all over the map, like I was talking about. Like I'm here today because of Public Enemy and NWA, not because of dance memes. So, but I respect and appreciate what everyone's doing. But for me personally, when I'm looking, I want to find talent first, and I can help you make records, find beats, work on ideas, work with the right producer, have the right theme for your album, a real whiteboard, a real message, whatever you're going to do. I'd much rather do that personally. And I think most people that are A&Rs probably feel the same. Otherwise, you wouldn't be doing it. Most of us are in the business because we love it.
I mean, listen, and if I'm being honest, again, there's no fooling the audience. So it's the same thing on Genius, on our channel. Anybody who's watching this content sees any given day, we might have a Boyboy West Coast do a verified episode, but we'll also have a Freddie Gibbs.
Yeah,
and or we had the Backpack Kid.
Oh yeah, the backpack flossing, yeah.
Oh God,
much to
no,
my,
I don't even mean to do that.
It's the truth.
I had to run into him yesterday though. I knew what it was, and and it comes up again, and that's my sad reality right now is having to be checking for things like TikTok, a lot of Instagram stories, this, that, whatever it is. thankfully, I pay people to look at it for me as well. So, because my wife would kill me. She's already halfway there.
Right.
And you have to have somebody has to do some of this because it's a lot to digest.
You know, it's funny though, but in the world where analytics really and traffic is a determinant of success, you know, something like the Backpack Kid did very well for the channel, even when the audience is like, why are you doing this? Like, people also, there's a certain ironic nature with some fans too, and who like to watch the train wreck. Sometimes you listen to a song not because it's a song, but, you know, it's funny to you, it's entertaining in another way. But, you know, that click as a fan doesn't necessarily mean that, hey, I think this is the greatest song. This is just entertaining me for right now.
Slim Jesus.
Right. Oh, my. Yeah.
Well, that was,
But then we get like.
Which was terrible, by the way. I'll be on
Right.
record for that. Like, I don't want anybody out there. All the fake gunplay stuff, that's whack. It's not.
But then we
not
get a
cool.
Freddie Gibbs, and I must have tweeted Freddie Gibbs episode of Verified 100 times. Like, please watch this because lyrically crazy. There's no question that Freddie is a talented lyricist.
Extremely.
He did an episode for Flat Tummy Tea, and then if you watch the episode, it's actually fucking hilarious. Like, if you know Freddie Gibbs, he's a funny guy.
Yeah,
So it's like, yo, this is wildly, like, it's dope technically, and then it's wildly entertaining. But you know, the fans are into what they're into, and virality sometimes is the Backpack Kid, and it's not Freddie Gibbs.
I will say for a lot of this, there's sort of a flip side to some of this too, because we're talking about like, you know, emerging platforms and figuring out ways artists to exploit them. And it's true that maybe most of the artists who do it are people like Backpack Kid or Lil Nas X, who maybe, I think Lil Nas X is great. Maybe not everyone does. But on the flip side of that, you know, I see someone like last year where Tierra Whack, where she made an album, presented it exclusively on Instagram, made this 1 minute thing, made a really unique, creative marketing strategy for an artist who I think is super talented. Her music, I don't know if she'll ever have like a #1 hit song, but she's a super duper talented artist who got attention by, again, exploiting something in a unique way because she was creative in the way she marketed and like promoted her stuff. She doesn't have like 20 million views. She's clearly not as big as Boyboy West Coast apparently. Right. But she, you know, there are ways for talented artists. And like, I think Tierra Whack has a real depth to her artistry because she's like a really dope singer, and like her writing, and like she performed at IQBBQ. She was great on stage. So like I said, there is something else to it. What I will say, and this is on the flip side, what you were talking about as far as like genius editorial stuff, like one of the things I always say, especially about our site specifically compared to, you know, like, again, Slim Jesus can get 1 million views on YouTube and like 99% of those people watched it just because they were like, what does this mean? But the one thing I will say, as far as like the genius traffic and the stuff we focus on, I would say like the highest level of engagement is actually someone looking up your lyrics, right? Because anyone can click play on a song. There's 1 million songs I've listened to one time. I was like, this song sucks, whatever, I'm never gonna listen to it again. But hey, you got a play out of me, and 1 million other people got a play out of them. But if someone actually is looking up your lyrics, they must really want to engage with it. That's not 100%. Yeah, it's the highest. It's like you must really care. What's actually being said in the song? And you know, our site is all about the annotation. So it's like, what do these lyrics actually mean? Like, what does Wrangler in my booty actually mean? Is actually like at a high level of engagement. So
do kids even wear Wrangler anymore?
No.
Not kids.
somebody wears them. Cowboys wear them, right?
Wrangler, like the sales at Walmart are probably like through the roof now. Everybody needs the Wrangler. Imagine if
Which
Wrangler
I'm
comes
all
back.
about accessibility.
But but again, to your point, like, and this is something that I find really disheartening too when I look on the Genius stats and I do some of the back channel stuff. When you look at like guys like known lyricists like Freddie Gibbs, Royce da 5'9", guys who I like a lot, and I'm just like, man, people aren't even looking up their lyrics. Like, people are looking up the lyrics to Old Town Road. It's been killing our site.
What does this have to say about the fans? Like, you know, I kind of made the comment, and this is me still trying to make sense of it. Like, look, I think as accessible, especially when we talk about hip hop, as accessible as it's become, and it's wide open, you know, again, measuring by traffic almost makes it democratic, right? Whoever gets the most views wins. And I'd argue that a lot of the fans aren't necessarily hip hop fans per se. Maybe not like how you and I grew up, but it's the irony in it. People are definitely looking to be entertained, which is that's valid. But you know, a lot of it is looking to laugh. And like, if I was a fan of an artist, here it was. If I was a fan of an artist, even an artist coming up like Kid and Play or something like that, who more fit the mold of what we're talking about now. They were dancing, they were fun, they had Saturday morning cartoons. If I was a fan of the artist, I was a fan of the artist. I don't know if these fans are necessarily fans of the artist or the culture or the art. and more so of a fan of the moment. I'm a fan of this moment.
Song, but they're a fan of the song. I mean, again, like that's not unique. Like there's a lot of artists who we just like that one song, like Trinidad James. I only kind of like. I actually liked a couple of songs from the mixtape too.
Okay, I'm
a lot of people slept on it.
Don't be saying.
But that was the thing at the time. People were just like, he only had all gold, everything, and it was like that was the moment. It was an amazing.
But what do
moment.
you do? What do you do to Trinidad James? Okay, so you say Trinidad is a guy who had multiple songs that you liked, but the audience is
But the
also
audience didn't
as
like
much
his
as they
music.
love you, it's almost so unforgiving because the audience will discard you
Yeah.
when they're done with your moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, again,
Because
ultimately,
somebody's gonna come up.
Yeah, but ultimately, Trinidad James, unfortunately, was basically known as a rap one-hit wonder.
Right.
Which, again, one-hit wonders have always kind of existed in music. That's not a unique
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, definitely. So the question is back to Lil Nas X. What happens next? Now. He has a lot of other music. Jay Grant talked about
No,
back.
I don't know. I didn't say
No,
all
but
that.
you said
He had other songs, but
you
he
went
deleted them
back
as
and
far as
listened to the old songs. Like
it's
not
my job. Like I
Of
want
course.
to
So
do
did
my
I.
job, and
Yeah.
I want to be like, all right, well, what was this kid really about?
So did I. Like, but there's no other cowboy songs.
Yeah.
There's no other country songs. So
Yeah.
the question is does he continue to make the music that he makes? And there's a question for him to answer, but let's speculate a bit. Or does his next song have to be a country song? And what will the audience do if it's not?
So he made a joke on Twitter where he said, "This is a track list for my album." And it was just like a bunch of Old Town Road remixes. And I'm hoping that he's really thinking about this like very critically. Because the piece that I mentioned earlier about virality, I spoke with Zach Fox, who was like comedian extraordinaire on Twitter and other places. And he said, we were speaking about Doja Cat at that moment and the Moo thing. And he was saying like she had a plan. She had a discography for people to go to. So it's a little bit different for Lil Nas X because he doesn't have that. Or he might have a few songs, but they're not really where people are really trying to reach them. So I think if he doesn't want to just be this artist who's sitting in the water and the song is growing bigger than he is, I think he has to figure out like, am I just going to be a country trap artist or do I want to show that I'm diverse? So I don't know what he's going to do, but I hope that he takes it seriously, even though it's a joke.
Yeah, one thing I will say is he a couple of weeks ago on his Twitter previewed a song called Titanic. That was not like a country trap song. It sounded more like a kind of like a regular kind of rap song or whatever. And it wasn't bad. I mean, I was like, oh, this is cool. But I remember we were discussing in our Slack channel. Everybody was like, well, it's no Old Town Road. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. Old Town Road is not only the #1 song, it's like #1 with a bullet. It's about to have a huge
Remember who the
week.
producer was? Like I know he's been in with one of the sessions was actually a really smart session with a producer I would pick. That would be like
I know he's been in with Take a Day Trip.
yeah. So
yeah,
Take a Day
Day Trip.
Trip,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So I didn't want to say it if it wasn't out.
Oh, sorry.
there,
No, it was out there.
Yeah,
Okay,
he
on
posted
Twitter.
a clip of that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Take a
Cool.
Day
That's
So
a
he's
great
working on
pick.
stuff,
Like
yeah.
they
Yeah.
make great music. They
Yeah.
help people. They help art. They're not just beat makers. They'll help you make better songs.
Yep.
Huge fan. And I love their production too. So now all of a sudden you can try and put first of all the Billy Ray thing and just how it all came together. Billboard with their I won't say. Billboard with
He
their
took an L with that.
Oh, they
Yeah,
helped.
they did.
They
it's
absolutely
the way the story
helped.
was supposed to go.
Yeah, it absolutely magnified everything. And then now all of a sudden, so you have that happen, so it legitifies him on some level, on a country level, however you look at that. I'm no country expert. But then, cool, fine. So now go take a accredited rap duo producer that is going to help you make better music. He could have a moment. If you go back and listen to the other records, I mean, he's talented. So, but it's very uncommon for people with no base for your music whatsoever, whether you come from being a YouTube star, Twitter star, Instagram star, whatever it is, to all of a sudden being able to walk into musical credibility. It'll be interesting.
What pressure? What would you tell an artist? And let's pull it back into general terms, right? What pressure? Your first song is the #1. First of all, there's nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
When you start at the top, and what do you do next? Do you give the people? Because I'm not even sure that the people want more country rap, like because it's been around. It's a thing, and it goes back to that irony that I talk about. Like, Thug was experimenting with it just a year or two ago. Like, and there a whole slew of other underground artists who have the Tractor song, which I think
Lil
is
Tracy.
Lil Tracy.
Yeah.
The Farmer joint. And then historically, I mean, even if you want to go back into hip hop, this is nothing new. This goes as far back as Rappin' Duke. Which
Wild Wild West,
the funny thing about Rappin' Duke, if you know the Biggie song, remember Rappin' Duke, the hard, you never thought that hip hop would take it this far, and it's a 360 moment where it's being embraced.
Yeah.
But hip hop hated that Rappin' Duke song. It was making fun of hip hop. It was almost like this is a fad. This is not gonna last.
And this is like kind of similar to that, but I'm a big UGK fan from Texas.
Yeah.
And on the song "Let Me See It," at the end of it, Pimp C is talking his shit, and he's like, this ain't no motherfucking hip hop records. These is country rap tunes. Like this ain't what y'all doing. So I think that there is room for like country trap, country rap to be explored, but it has to come from the right person. It has to be the right message. It has to be the right vehicle for them to like access people, because I don't think there's going to be anybody who can come up through TikTok and do what Lil Nas X did and people not look at them sideways. You know?
Right.
The one thing I will say that I wonder if there'll be more of this, because a good portion of that song in general is, and the music video visualizer for it is from the game Red Dead Redemption 2, which is one of the like best reviewed games of all time. It's a huge game. I've been playing it lately, and it's so amazing, and I love it. But there is something to be said for that, because I feel like there's so many kids who are like playing that game, and their experience, again, for me as a kid, my experience of cowboy culture was watching Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I was like what I knew of like the Wild West. But there's so many kids playing that game, and they probably love it because it's an amazing game. And I wonder what that influence is going to have going forward too, because I think video games are a big part of the way, especially young kids, like spend their time.
Yeah, it's funny. The first night I got Red Dead, I thought I made the greatest meme of all time. I did it. I was riding the horse, and I used the Young Thug.
Yeah.
Hustlers don't stop, but everybody thought he was saying horses don't stop, they keep going.
Yeah.
And I just looped it. I was like, this is amazing. I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna have 1 million followers now.
You try to do the Lil Nas X.
I did try to do Lil Nas X. His execution.
That was a good meme. I remember
his execution was on 1,000. He was so much better than I was. But yeah, no, it's interesting though. I would love to see kind of what's next. It's scary to be in his position, because do you double down, or
he's gonna be all right.
I mean, I think when you hit a fucking number one, off top, like I think you're probably gonna be okay for a little bit, even if it's you like Salento just touring around the world with this one song. Like I think he's gonna be okay.
Rather be a one-hit wonder than a
nothing.
one?
Yeah.
I will say,
Is that true?
No, I mean that's up to the person. I mean, you got
That's true.
He seems comfortable in his skin though.
Yeah, he seemed like a real humble guy when he did the Verified. He seemed like a cool dude. My fear for him is that he'll be someone like Fetty Wap, where like Fetty Wap had 1 year where he was super on fire, made a bunch of hits, and then I don't know what happened to Fetty Wap. Like I feel like there's a lot of room for him to have another hit, but he just hasn't really had that. And just the problem for it is like the pressure of like, no one knew who you were 3 months ago. You made one song. It became not only the number one song, it's possible that this week it'll be the most streaming week for any song. Like it's possible, because I think last year Drake set the standard with, the Kiki song. And it's possible that, if Lil Nas X breaks that, and it's like, damn, your first song out that everyone knows you for is one of the biggest hits of the year. It's hard to top that. It's hard to come back with another hit.
Just give me half of that.
Yeah, half. Yeah,
my second song, I'll take half of that.
Yeah.
Because if it charts to number 50, then it's great.
But no, that's a question for you, because on the label side and just being in the business, Jay Grand, what's the success rate for people who come out number one with a bullet? Like, is it?
For doing what he's doing, coming from zero, it's going to be tough. He's really going to need to get it right, and they're going to need to really get it right. And they can. I mean, it's not like unheard of by any means. I think it's hard to say, but I mean, going back to what you were talking about, which I think is super important in terms of like where this is all going. I do think at some point there is the pendulum. I always feel like the pendulum's here, and it's going to come whipping back around the other way towards lyricism and talent, and people actually taking the time to write their bars and craft songs and make albums. Part of that not existing today is just the way kids consume music. It's streaming, and it's singles, and it's entertainment. And I think part of it is that more kids are listening to music than ever, because it's easy to find. And it's fun. And when you're a kid, I mean, I remember being a 13-year-old kid. It shaped my life. So, but they're kids, so they're listening to, sometimes inane stuff. So, there's going to be more and more of that. So where do we get that breakthrough artist? Breakthrough artist. Which camera am I on? Breakthrough artist. Super talented, 18-ish, young rap phenomenon. Get in my DM, like just blow me up. Like every picture on Instagram, I will find you, because I haven't found you yet, and I want to find you. I mean it.
I know I'm pitching now. I'm like,
Nah, we're gonna let him pitch. Because what's gonna happen
No,
is
but
as soon as he
deadass,
signs
like,
him,
this is-
he's gonna send him to
Absolutely.
Genius first stop.
Yeah, done.
We gotta hold you
Please.
to that one.
And then we're gonna go to wherever Kiana's writing for via NPR, Complex, whatever you got the next
Done.
time.
Gotcha.
You got
gotcha.
next
We got the
dibs.
train.
And I'm
Yeah.
sorry that I said 18. Like, I don't even want to be specific like that, but I do feel like youth culture is on fire right now. Urban culture is on fire. And
Urban
we
culture's
are
always on fire.
Right.
Youth culture is
It's-
always
it's-
both of those
it's
things.
yeah,
That's what
yeah.
culture is.
I think it's absolutely magnified.
It's become a
both
much
in-
bigger, like,
Yeah.
in your face thing, I think.
right.
I
I
think
think from
the size
broad
of
stream
the generation
society,
might be-
even
Yeah.
like we've always known,
Right.
but now everybody is starting to really get
And
the
way more
grasp.
accepted.
Yeah.
And you do look, listen, man, I'm the old guy in the room, like, oh my God, rap is changing. But the fact of the matter is, the young artists need to change it. It can't stay the same. It'll get
Right.
boring.
Mhm.
I love Nas Illmatic. I don't need another one. I had that one already. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's
but
like,
I
what's
want
new,
I
who's
want the
new?
next page. I
Right.
want the
Of
next
course.
Nas.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But
I want that
would have to
storytelling
fit.
artist. Like
Right.
he told a story. I remember getting that. That's back when we used to
Right.
get albums 3 months in advance. It was on a black tape. I
Yeah.
wrote it in silver
I-
marker. It
I
was
wasn't
two
this
sides.
privileged.
Oh,
but we also have Kendricks, we have the Coles, we have
Yeah.
the
Exactly.
you know, and there's gonna be younger artists that come up. I'm really excited
But-
for JID. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like, and what he's
Phenomenal.
doing is amazing. So
Yeah.
there'll always be room for the artist as artists.
But wait, can I say on the flip side of that? Like, you look at someone like J. Cole famously said the line recently, like, some rap, some people make millions, others make memes. That line is a meme. Like, I've seen a million memes on Instagram on all those weird pages rap pages that I follow that have a meme of that line.
Yeah.
When Kendrick did Control, there were like 20 memes. I remember doing a post at Complex, like, here's 20 memes that people made. It was like the picture of like Freddie or Jason, and it's like Kendrick going to the studio, and like, all that, like, that became a meme too. And that was like a super lyrical outing too. Cause like that's a part of the culture, no matter where the culture is going.
And that's encouraging because that means that rappers don't just have to make like hokey jokey raps. They can make actual like lyrical pieces of work, and it can still pop off organically.
I feel better after I came in here thinking this was Doomsday. I think I got the
Oh,
right
no,
panel.
We are doomed. We are doomed in
we're
general.
not doomed.
But music will be all right.
No comment.
Good luck to Lil Nas X. We are actually here at Genius rooting for you, man. It's a fun moment. Thank you for giving us something to talk about, something exciting. It feels like really exciting and fun to music.
I'm just
And thank
glad
you
I got
for
out
being
here.
Nah, man.
I
And
should have been out here a long time
you're
ago.
welcome anytime.
Oh man,
Anytime you come,
Listen,
especially when you sign that next artist, man. You got to bring them here first, all right?
Yeah, coming through.
All right, man. I'd like to thank all of you guys for watching. Until next week, this is, what's the name of this show?